Hey, it's Anthony Cumia. Other jewelers hate Steven Singer. Why? Because Steven Singer has the best real natural diamond stud earrings in America. Everybody knows gold and diamond prices are crazy right now. Gold at the highest price in history. That means ever. Lucky for you, Steven Singer has locked in his diamond studs at the old prices. Steven has diamond studs available from a quarter carat all the way up to 10 carats total weight. All at the same perfect price as last year. Same incredible value. There's no better time to get a pair of diamond stud earrings from Steven Singer Jewelers. Yes, this can't last forever. Each pair eye flawless, near colorless, beautiful stuff. They come with his safety silicone bags, so you never have to worry about losing them. Oh, okay. And with his unbeatable full-time value lifetime trade-in, you know your diamonds are always worth what you paid. All backed by the best guarantee in the jewelry business. It's a full 100-day, 100% no-hassle money-back guarantee. Plus fast free shipping. Experience the difference at Steven Singer Jewelers. Online at IHateStevenSinger.com. That's IHateStevenSinger.com.
It's the Anthony Cumia Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Good evening, everybody. It is the Anthony Cumia Show. Another Sunday evening. Look at that. And thank you. Thank you for tuning in. We appreciate it. So much has gone on over the past week, and we come here every Sunday to dish it out. Yes, we do. And first off, kind of a breaking story in New York. Jets cornerback Chris Boyd shot in Midtown Manhattan. Oh, well. I don't mean to sound, aloof about it, flippant about it, but it's New York. It is New York. He was, I guess, out with friends maybe. It was 2 a.m., right around 38th Street and 7th Avenue, which is, to anybody that isn't in New York, is Midtown Manhattan. Right in the center of it, a lot going on there. And he was shot in the abdomen, taken to the hospital. He's in serious but stable condition. And, this is New York. I don't mean to make people paranoid or want people to think that you have to be paranoid. You walk around New York City wondering where the shot's going to come from or where the pipe is going to be laid across your head. But you do have to keep your eyes open, your head on the proverbial swivel, and pay attention. You don't be on your phone. Don't talk to anybody. Anyone who thinks they are going to make a new friend in Midtown Manhattan at 2 a.m. in 2025, you're out of your gourd. There are no friends to be had. You're not finding someone go, I can't believe it, 2 a.m., New York City, and this guy is into the same hobbies I am. No one out at that hour is up to any good. Probably the most innocent people are leaving bars and places hammered, and that's not a good thing either. But what are you doing? And this guy, he's a football player. He's got a pretty good career, I guess. I don't know much about him. But why are you? He got into an altercation with another gentleman, and that gentleman shot him. You can't afford to have any pride when you're walking around in New York City. Don't think you can stand up for yourself or get into some kind of an altercation with somebody, because the odds that they might do something to you, either assault you or shoot you and kill you, whatever, it's not out of the question, that's for sure. So what is he doing? Getting into some type of argument with a man at 2 a.m, Midtown Manhattan, and he gets himself shot. The other thing, obviously, is that New York City hates letting people defend themselves. We've seen this before. The Second Amendment is just not viable in New York City, especially. New York State's tough enough, but New York City, good luck. They went to court. The Supreme Court actually ruled that the way New York City was they didn't have to give you a pistol permit. You could fill out all the paperwork, jump through all their hoops, pass it with flying colors, never had any, not even a traffic ticket. And they could turn around and go, no, nope, you don't need one. Well, I don't think the Constitution is based on what we need. These are God-given rights that we have. How could you tell me I am not allowed to exercise my Second Amendment right in your fair city? So that went on for quite some time, but the Supreme Court finally ruled that they can't do that. So people with New York State pistol permits were now able to go into New York City. You used to have to get an attachment, it was called. I lived out on Long Island for many years, and I wanted to be able to carry a gun in New York City where I worked, and I had to pay thousands and thousands of dollars and jump through so many hoops, and every single traffic ticket I had gotten my entire life had to be documented. And I needed knowledge as to how those traffic violations were disposed of. What happened there? Oh, I paid a fine. Everything. And if you get something wrong, they deny you, and you go back on the bottom of the 1-year-long waiting list. So I went through all this. I hired a lawyer to do it for me. The lawyer wound up getting in trouble many years later for bribing the officials at one police plaza that actually give out the pistol permits. So the whole thing was corrupt anyway. That's probably where my thousands of dollars I paid the lawyer went to, was bribing the officials to get my permit. Whatever the case may be, I did get my permit, and I was allowed to carry in New York City, which no one was legally allowed to carry. There were plenty of people carrying. They're called criminals. They're thugs. They're violent felons. They're allowed. Not really allowed, but no one does much about it. And that's most likely who shot Chris Boyd of the New York Jets late last night. So, they don't want you protecting yourself. They always say that if you allow people to carry firearms, that it's going to be the Wild West. Ah, yes. You know what the Wild West had? It was called Colt 45s, the pistols. They were known as peacekeepers. The peacekeeper, the Colt 45. People would go, what does that mean? Why are you calling a deadly weapon a peacekeeper? Because it gave you equal power to anyone else that had a peacemaker or reasonable facsimile thereof. So there was a certain balance of power, a détente in place. And, the government are the first people that start screaming that you don't need weapons, and it just makes things more violent, and more people get shot. And that's just not true. And the government itself, back during the Cold War, there was a balance of power, a détente with the Soviet Union, the United States. Mutually assured destruction. You're pointing nuclear missiles at each other. Both sides know that if they jump the gun and try something, the other side is just going to do what they do. And the peacekeeper in the Old West was based on that. And these days, an armed population is a polite population. And I'm talking about people, legal, law-abiding citizens that are exercising their Second Amendment right. But New York, like I said, the Supreme Court said, well, you have to allow people that have a New York State permit to carry their gun concealed in New York City. And they went, oh, okay. And then they put up gun restriction zones, which completely negated your ability to be able to carry a gun in New York City. Times Square. one of the worst places in New York City for crime and assaults and even murders. And you are not allowed to carry a concealed weapon, even if you have a permit, in any part of Times Square. If somehow you're found out that you have that weapon on you, doesn't matter if you're legal, you have a New York State license, you're in the city, the Supreme Court said you could carry in New York City, you will go to jail. You will go to jail. And they put those restrictions all over New York. You can't be within a certain distance of a school, of a courthouse, of any federal building. And you look at a map of New York and realize those are overlapping places. The circle around the school overlaps with the circle around the federal building and the colleges and churches and everything else. So they've effectively told the Supreme Court to shove it. And by doing that, have told you, the American citizen, that your rights don't matter, that you can shove it. And it's still in court. It's still going through court, but they will continue their never-ending assault on your rights. And they keep getting away with it. They make more restrictions, and it does not allow you to be on equal footing with people that want to do you harm. You have a petite woman, maybe, an older gal, like our callers here, an older gal that wouldn't last a second in a physical altercation with some of these criminal monsters roaming the street. You give her a gun, she trains, go to the range, train, do everything you're legally obligated to do and morally obligated to do and socially obligated to do, to make sure you are very good, if I may use the term, very well trained in firearms. And now that woman can never be put in a position, not never, but it sure is a much more rare occurrence, that she's going to be put in a position where she cannot defend herself against any adversary. New York State and New York City has said, nope, go screw. We don't care about your safety. We just don't care. So, that's where you're at, New York. Good luck. So we'll see what happens with Jets cornerback Chris Boyd, shot in Midtown Manhattan last night. Just, it's going to get worse, people. I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but I think you know that. Okay, we are just getting started here. Please, what are you doing? Where else are you going? You're going to stick around. We'll be right back.
It's the Anthony Cumia Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. It's the Anthony Cumia Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Welcome back. The phone number here, if you want to dive into any of the topics we talk about, 800-848-9222. 800-848-9222. And, like I said, lots going on. There's a story that's just crazy. This should be one of the biggest stories that the mainstream media should be talking about, because it involves Jeffrey Epstein. We've heard a lot about this Epstein-Trump connection. I read some ridiculous tweet by Stephen King, author Stephen King, another one who has just destroyed his legacy. He went from it's kind of fun author of horror, the macabre, and now he's just a jackass. So he was talking about the Epstein thing, going, if Trump has nothing to hide as far as the Jeffrey Epstein thing goes, why won't he release all the paperwork and files attached to it? And I was thinking, well, if Trump did have something linking him to Epstein and his island and the girls and all that. Why didn't the Biden administration put out that? They had them. They had them just like Trump supposedly has them. And you know damn well they would do anything to prevent Trump from becoming president in the 2024 election. So why didn't they pull it out? Well, there's a couple of things there you could speculate about. Maybe everyone is tainted. Maybe every single politician and judge and actor and everyone somehow was mixed up with Jeffrey Epstein. It certainly seems that way. It really does seem that way. Every new piece of information we get is, oh, this person had something going on with Jeffrey Epstein, and then this one. So, the mainstream media hating Trump is trying to make a link there. And look, I don't know. I have no idea. I'm a Trump supporter, but I can't sit here with any certainty and say that Trump had no relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. He did nothing wrong in any of his meetings or times that he was on Jeffrey Epstein's plane or whatever. I don't know. How the hell would I know? And also, how the hell would you know? Because a lot of people like saying, oh, he's this, he's that. They throw the pedophile word around. He's a criminal. You don't know either. So keep it real, and we can wait and see. But this story isn't speculation. This happened. We got this wonderful U.S. House of Representatives member, Miss Plaskett. Yes, Miss Plaskett. What's her full name? Newly released documents from Jeffrey Epstein's estate show the convicted sex offender appeared to be texting with a member of Congress during the 2019 House hearing with Michael Cohen, Donald Trump's former fixer, personal attorney. And those messages may have influenced the lawmakers' questioning. This is insanity. The documents provided to Congress this week include transcripts suggesting Epstein was in direct contact with the lawmaker as the hearing unfolded. Although the transcript does not name the lawmaker, Epstein was texting during the February 2019 hearing. An analysis by the Post suggests it was Stacey Plaskett, the U.S. Virgin Islands non-voting Democratic delegate. What is she doing up there anyway? Why is she at a hearing? She can't vote. It's the Virgin Islands. But they get this. They match the timestamps of the messages with the video of the hearing. And the analysts concluded that Plaskett was the member of Congress in contact with Epstein. At the time, Cohen was appearing before the House Oversight Committee to testify against Trump, accusing him of racism, financial fraud, and directing hush money payments to conceal his extramarital affairs. So here's this woman, this representative of the Virgin Islands, and she's texting with Jeffrey Epstein. And Jeffrey is telling her what questions to ask Cohen during this, another one of these kangaroo court hearing Trump executions that were all the rage back then. So, she should at the very least be thrown out. It's a useless seat, but she should be thrown out. Where are the people saying that she should have to resign immediately? And I don't know what criminal charges you might be able to connect to her actions there. But it seems a little odd. And why was she doing it? Again, this Jeffrey Epstein guy. His island is within her jurisdiction, is what I hear. So what favors were these two doing for each other that she could be sitting there during a very, very high-profile congressional hearing and taking direction from the likes of Jeffrey Epstein? This Epstein thing is a hell of a lot bigger than they're trying to present it. And they can only do so much trying to downplay how involved this guy was in our government. You know, how many people did this guy have dirt on? And the fact that, you know, he commits suicide in jail and no one saw anything. The guards at Rikers were asleep. The camera didn't work. Oh, I mean, it is such a movie level, unbelievable movie level nonsense that's going on with this Epstein thing. And, you know, where's it going to end up? Maybe, look, I don't know. Like I said, I don't know. Maybe Trump was all tied up with this. Maybe he was going to the island and doing terrible things. I don't know. But it certainly wasn't just Donald Trump. And I think that is a great excuse for the Biden administration to never have pulled these records out and tried to crucify Donald Trump with those. Oh, they tried to kill him. They tried to put him in prison. But why? Why wouldn't they pull these files out if they show that Donald Trump was doing terrible things with Jeffrey Epstein on that island? Because we know the Clintons are somehow tied up in it. A painting of Bill Clinton in that red dress with high heels on? I mean, come on. All right, we're going to return in mere moments. Our phone lines are full, and we will take your calls next.
It's the Anthony Cumia Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. It's the Anthony Cumia Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Yes, it is the Anthony Cumia Show. And, yeah, we got some calls here. Let's talk to Al from Yonkers. What's up, Al?
Hey, Anthony. Nice to speak to you, and thanks for taking my call.
Thank you, sir.
You know, sure. I just want to say with, the President Trump, just a couple of things quickly. I know you got a lot of calls. You got a great show.
Oh, good. Thanks.
Sure. I just wanted to say, I'm sure like President Trump said, I mean, if they really had anything on him with this, they would have brought it out and exploited it already.
Yeah.
Because, President Trump, since I was a kid, in the 1980s, everybody knew Donald Trump with the book Art of the Deal. And he's, always been around in New York City, in, all the social circles and all. But my point is, I just wanted to say that with Jeffrey Epstein, his last cellmate, who was an ex-cop, he was from Yonkers. I had met him once as an acquaintance basis in the 1980s because he actually was from this neighborhood. And I'll always remember the guy. Yonkers was a different city then.
Wasn't Son of Sam also from Yonkers?
Yeah, he was right near my house. I mean, yeah, absolutely. I'll never forget that.
Crazy.
That for the rest of my life, that when they quote Son of Sam, because it was the summer of '77. You had the Yankees. You had Son of Sam. You had the primary for mayor where Abe Bean was beat out by Koch.
Right.
And you had, it was just a crazy summer. But getting back to the guy who was from
blackout too,
here,
the big blackout.
Yeah, the big blackout, of course, all the looting in Harlem.
Yeah.
How Bushwick and those, all those neighborhoods burned and never came back.
That was mad. Crazy.
Yeah, it really was. But the guy who was his last cellmate was from Yonkers. I had met him years ago in the 80s in an acquaintance basis. And I'll always remember the guy. His name was Nick Tartaglione. He was a big guy. He always had a beautiful car. And at the time, Yonkers was less diversified. It was mostly my area. It was mostly Italian, Irish American. Now it's more Hispanic, which is a good thing. Diversification is always good. But I know Nick Tartaglione, the roommate of cellmate of Jeffrey Epstein. He got jammed up himself, and he had lost his job as a Briarcliff cop because he had violated the civil rights the courts had come to the conclusion.
Yeah.
And I think the municipality had to pay out some money for what he did
Well,
to this activist.
how does this
town.
tie? Let's tie it into the Trump thing or Epstein thing. Like, get to the point, Al.
Oh no, yeah, no. I just wanted to say that the guy was he was from Yonkers.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate that, Al. Thank you for the call.
Have a good night.
Right. Oh, thank you. You too. You need to click that continue. Not you, Al. Back at the studio needs to click the continue thing so I may hang up. Yes, there you go. Thank you. All right. Let's try to hang up on Al. I was wondering where that was going. I'm like, all right, the guy, he's in the cell with Epstein. Did he say anything about Trump or anything? He's like, nope. He's from Yonkers. All right. He's from Yonkers. Amy, how you doing from Jersey? What's up?
Hi, how you doing, Anthony?
Just
I
grand.
really enjoy your show.
Thank you, Amy.
I'm a little bit nervous.
Oh, no need, no need.
Being in Jersey, everybody, I have my firearms permit, and everybody's like, oh, when are you going to get your concealed carry? When are you going to get your concealed carry? I said, I'm never going to get it here in Jersey because, like I told your call screener, as soon as you pull that trigger, Anthony,
Yep.
I'll become the criminal.
Yeah. I mean, think about it. Everything you've done or said, every political affiliation you've had, every vote you've made, every comment now that you make on social media will now be in front of a courtroom trying to paint you as a horrible person, a racist or something, whatever, they could pull up. Once you fire your gun, even in the most, if it's self-defense, and there isn't even a question about it being self-defense, you have to defend your life now in a courtroom. You did it out there. You were successful defending your life with your firearm. Now a whole new chapter of your life. Your life will never be the same. And not only because maybe you're faced with some moral implications of taking a life that you have to deal with for the rest of your life, but now you're fighting for your freedom. Because there are people that think if you did that and you defended yourself, you should be in jail. And they will do everything in their power to make that happen. So very good, Amy. I like the way you think. You're thinking ahead and seeing what pitfalls there are in being a gun owner, and especially carrying that weapon with you out on the streets, not just in your house. That's why I always say, the second you put a gun on your hip and you go outside, you have to leave your pride home. You have to leave any part of your personality that is confrontational. If you do get into some type of road rage incident, you just have to wave and go, I'm sorry. There are so many things that come with being a responsible gun owner, and having a violent personality, being somebody that gets into conflicts, you are the wrong person to be out there. You have to walk away from conflicts, even if you got to bite your tongue and, damn it, I know I'm right, or this piece of crap, he's deserves whatever he gets. You can't take that with you when you're carrying a gun.
Yeah, not even just, back in the day, you'd be able to give somebody the finger, they cut you off in the car.
Yeah.
Not even down here in South Jersey. I don't even do that anymore. You just, all right, you just go do what you got to do. And because you never know if somebody's got like a criminal, somebody like you said in the city who just could carry it and the common person can't.
Yeah,
they
don't
have
care.
one in their car and they could pull it on you. It's happened down here.
Yep, and they don't care. They really don't. Thank you, Amy. Thank you for the call. It's strange because you better know damn well that your life was in imminent danger of being taken for you to pull a gun out that you legally own and use it to defend yourself or your loved ones. There's no brandishing. There's no pulling it out and go, hey, take a walk, fella. You don't do that. It is, if you are in a situation where, you are in imminent danger, because anything less than that, and boy, are you going to be on a roller coaster that could end up in prison, more likely these days than any other time in American history. Like I said, there are people and people in power, judges, district attorneys, citizens that'll be on that jury that have no want or need for the Second Amendment or for people to have the ability to use deadly physical force when deadly physical force is against them at some point. So, yeah, it's a battle. I tell everybody also, you got to get insurance. They want to. A lot of these anti-gun organizations, these liberal organizations that want to take away people's freedom and the right to bear arms, they talk about mandatory insurance. They want people to have insurance because any obstacle to throw into people's way, I can't afford insurance. Well, then you can't afford a gun. Anything they could do to put a speed bump in the way in between a citizen and their Second Amendment right, they will do it. But I implore people to get insurance, because the second that bullet leaves that barrel, you are in for the fight of your life, and it is going to cost a lot of money. Talk about a catastrophic illness, and you have to go to the hospital and you don't have insurance, and now you're in debt the rest of your life. Yeah, same thing. Same thing once you fire that gun. You will be broke. You may go to prison. Even if you don't go to prison and are acquitted, you are going to, your entire life is thrown up in the air. Try to get jobs, as the guy that was up on a murder charge, even though you were acquitted, and the money for lawyers and everything else. So, yeah, a good insurance policy. And there are companies out there that underwrite people, armed citizens, just in case something happens. It won't fix everything, but you sure as hell don't want to end up fighting that battle with what's in your bank account. That's for sure. And nowadays, like I've talked about all the time, I would have to maybe double think, triple think what I was doing, which is very dangerous in a situation where you're faced with a life-threatening prospect because of a conflict. You don't want to have to think. You want to react, training, reflex. But I have so much dirt out there, especially in the context of comedy. Lest you forget, I was a shock jock back in the late 90s and first half of the 2000s. Shocking shock jock. So, of course, a lot of the jokes that were made were sexist and racist and homophobic and Islamophobic. They'd all be considered that. But it was all under the umbrella of, yeah, you're a wacky disc jockey, shock jock guy. Well, watch how fast everything you said is taken in the context of absolute seriousness and gospel. Did you, Anthony Cumia, did you not say that Obama gonna take Aunt's money and give it all up to me in a song? Yes, Your Honor, I did, but it was all funny. Just answer the question. Yeah. So you got baggage. You have all that baggage that you're carrying around with you that can and will be used against you in a court of law. So be careful. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Be careful out there, because you don't know. You know, there is a Spider-Man. With great power comes great responsibility. And obviously carrying a firearm is great power. And the responsibility is doing everything in your power to never have to use it. It's not a toy, obviously. It's not a showpiece. It's not something that you use to threaten people or get your way or show someone that you're bigger than them. That is all trouble, all complete trouble. You know, I used to have insane road rage. I mean insane. I scared the crap out of Opie one day. We used to drive in for the Opie and Anthony show from Long Island. And he would drive one day, I would drive the next, or he would drive 1 week, and I'd drive the other one going to WNEW in New York. And there were times he would just be cowering in the passenger seat because I would lose my mind driving in New York City. And, once you're an armed citizen, you got to put that away. You got to put road rage to bed. And believe me, you can't not be angry and get road rage, especially driving in New York City. There are videos of me on YouTube from many years ago, one of which is, I guess it was the NBC, the Today Show. You know, they did that outside segment, and celebrities would be go from their limousine to the building where the show is going to be, and I think it was Michael Bublé. And he was getting out of his limo, and all these photographers, these amateur paparazzi, they would park in the middle of the street and try to get a picture of Michael Bublé. And I was stuck in that traffic jam. And you see the interview going on with Michael Bublé at the door, and you hear my car horn beeping and me yelling obscenities on, an NBC morning show. It was hilarious. But, that's how angry I would get. And like I said, great power, great responsibility. You can't be a wannabe tough guy and have a gun. You got to be the guy that walks away. You got to be Kane from Kung Fu. Just, all right, he fought every week. He was Mr. Peaceful Guy, but he fought every week because people hassled him, man. But, you just got to walk away from conflict. It's terrible sometimes, but, you don't want to get caught up in something like that if you have a gun. All right, people? Yeah, I know you know what I'm talking about. Let's go to my good friend here, calls every week, Joaquin from PA. What's up, man?
Good evening, Mr. Cumia. Hey, you got to know when to hold them and know when to fold them, right?
There you go,
walk
man.
Away and know when to run.
There you go.
And I'm sorry, I don't mean to be a stickler for details. I got to correct you a little bit. The Colt Single Action Army 45 was actually called the Peacemaker, something I'm very, very familiar with.
Yeah.
So it was the Peacemaker, not the Peacekeeper. But,
Oh, I thought I
New
said
York
Peacemaker.
City,
I didn't say Peacemaker?
No, you said Peacekeeper.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's Peacemaker. Thank you, Joaquin.
I'm sorry to be a smartass. Anyway, in New York City, you can't even carry, your station advertises burning purple ball guns.
Mm-hmm.
And guess where? They're not legal. They're not legal in New York City.
Uh-oh.
So
don't think we
people
want to
have
hear that.
no options. And, and then, of course, I also want to move on to the other thing about Trump. Yeah. Prince Albert in the can, right? He was dethroned or whatever. So there's so many people involved in this. And then there's even Bill Barr's father, who had the ties to the OSS, who gave Epstein one of his first jobs. So there's stuff that goes really deep into that murky water.
Yeah, I think, just the sheer weight of this whole thing, it's the reason no one wants to put these out, regardless of what side you're on. If you were on the left or the right and you knew you had documentation that can really smear somebody that you want smeared, why wouldn't you put it out unless also, your name's on there, people people that don't want their name out there. It really is the only viable reason why we're not seeing what supposedly exists.
And I would like to get to Islam while I'm on the air. I've been going,
I would love to right now, but we might have to save that. I got to go to break, Joaquin. I am sorry that your call is going to be cut short this week, but we got to do it. We'll be back in moments. Don't go anywhere.
It's the Anthony Cumia Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. It's the Anthony Cumia Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
The Anthony Cumia Show, and, maybe at the studio we could queue up Clown of the Week, because this, I have to appoint this woman as, indeed, Clown of the Week.
The Anthony Cumia Show presents the Clown of the Week.
Yes, she's made an appearance as Clown of the Week a couple of times over the course of my tenure here so far. I'm certain she will return again as Clown of the Week in the future. You might think this is somebody else, but it is AOC. AOC, she has I've seen a lot of Democrats, and especially the real wacky ones, like Jazzy Jasmine Crockett and AOC and Liz Warren. AOC thinks that Trump supporters are coming over to their side, to their way of thinking, the socialist, liberal, Democrat. I don't know where they are getting this from. This is so not happening. I know a lot of people. I speak to a lot of people. And I don't know of a single Trump supporter that has what they're calling buyer's remorse. Dave Smith. He has said that he regrets pushing Trump and supporting him. But other than that, everyone I know, my friends, family, people I talk to on the phones, on this very show, and on my podcast, I haven't heard one Trump supporter go, oh, boy, I certainly wish I would have voted for Kamala Harris. Not a one. But AOC thinks that the Trump supporters are coming there. And look, she is willing to embrace them and says we shouldn't chase away these people that don't like Trump anymore. This is such nonsense. AOC?
I want to say this right now. I fully welcome Trump voters into our coalition. And I know that sounds crazy to some people, but just hear me out. I cannot tell you. It just happened to me like 2 weeks ago.
Sure,
I can't tell you how many times someone has pulled me aside and said either I was once a big Trump voter and a Trump supporter, and I watched Fox News every day, but then I started to kind of expand my world and where I got information, and now I've learned, and now I've changed, and I'm with you, and I learn from you. Or people who meet me who are really big Republicans now, and they are shocked when they meet me because they're like, you are nothing like I was told you are.
Oh, boy.
And you start to see the cogs turning, that maybe everything that they had been told from this one channel or this one ecosystem isn't the whole truth. And it is enough to spark a curiosity that makes people want to go down a longer journey of learning.
Oh, AOC, you dimwit. First of all, if anyone came up to her and said, I stopped watching Fox News because, what is this, 2016? No Trump supporter worth their salt puts any credence in Fox News. You watch Fox News for Gutfeld. He's funny. The comics are funny. As far as news goes, no, who's watching that anymore? These dummies like AOC and the liberals and the Democrats, they still think that Fox News is this thing that Trump supporters watch and they're brainwashed by it. No, we stopped that the second they started calling the race for Joe Biden in the 2020 election, and something seemed a little off. We started looking at Fox News like it was just like CNN and MSNBC and network, all the network stations, just another one of these lying news agencies. That's all. So for her to say this Trump supporter came up and said, yeah, I don't watch Fox News anymore. 2016. And then the other stuff, you don't seem like the person that they talk about. And yeah, I'm really into your policies and everything. Here's something I need AOC to know. As far as you are a congressional 10, you're not shabby in any rating, any attractiveness rating scale. You're very good. You got them big, you know what I mean. And she's attractive. She's getting a little beefy, but she's still very attractive. Does this woman know what guys will say to try to get in your pants? that they agree with you? That we used to be Trump supporters, but now AOC, I agree with you. And please embrace me in your, politics. Well, anyway, embrace me in any way you want. Take those and embrace them. She doesn't understand. Guys will say anything to try to have sex with you, even to the point of disavowing the president that they voted for, supported, and still absolutely support AOC. Oh, you're so naive, AOC. What a dunce. All right. Back in a couple of minutes, your calls, a lot more stories on the Anthony Cumia Show. Where are you going? Nowhere.
It's the Anthony Cumia Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. It's the Anthony Cumia Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Yes, the Anthony Cumia Show. And, the parade of mayors that are just clown shoes in this country is astounding. A lot of people like talking about red states and how the red states are the ones with the most gun violence. The red states are the ones that have more people on EBT and SNAP benefits. And the red states, what they don't do is let people know that it's the blue cities in those red states that are the catastrophe going on. It's not the states. It's these blue cities with these mayors that are just how they do not get arrested for gross misconduct, negligence of their duties is beyond me. And an Anthony Cumia Show would not be complete any week without having to bring up Chicago's Mayor Johnson. This guy has to be the worst mayor Now, we'll see what happens with Mamdani in New York. Technically, well, not technically, literally, he is not mayor yet until January 1st. But right now, I defy you to find a mayor worse than Chicago Mayor Johnson, because this guy would rather stack up the bodies of young people in Chicago than do anything realistically that will curtail the violent crime and murder going on in his city. He will look at real solutions and just go, nope, pile them up, stack them up, don't care. I'm not going to make law enforcement look like they actually serve a legitimate purpose. I can't allow the Chicago Police Department to do their job, because then if it works, how am I going to tell people that the police department are terrible and racist and should be defunded? He will do anything but actually take the hard steps that are needed to try to do anything to stop the carnage that goes on in Chicago. So that's, if you're in Chicago, that's your mayor. That's Mayor Johnson. And we thought Lori Lightfoot was an abomination. Boy, you guys. And then, this happens everywhere in these blue cities, and some of them statewide with their governors and congressmen and senators. But, you just vote these people in. You got rid of Lori Lightfoot. Good job. And then you vote in a guy even worse than Lori Lightfoot. What are you doing? What am I doing? You guys are screwing up so bad in Chicago. So maybe I'm speaking a little prematurely, because I have in my hand another one of Chicago Mayor Johnson's solutions to the violence problem going on in Chicago. Now, you might say, Anthony, what problem is there? What seems to be the problem in Chicago? Well, this story is interesting and pretty typical of Chicago. There's a serial woman puncher. How this is even a thing. A serial woman puncher has been arrested again. William Livingston, 32, charged with 2 felony counts of aggravated battery in a public place. Police say Livingston was identified as the man who struck 2 women, aged 40 and 29, on June 12th. He previously spent time in jail for punching several other women. Kathleen Miles, a mother of 11 from Lake Villa, was punched on August 19th. Livingston was named a suspect and taken into custody. CPD records show he had 7 arrests in the past 10 years for similar attacks, including 2 in 2017, an aggravated assault charge in 2015 and 2016. Coming in with 7 punches. It's William Livingston, 32, says, "Dear Casey, I love punching women." He faced 4 felony counts of aggravated battery for the early 2022 attack. So here's Chicago's problem, and it's not unique to Chicago. Any liberal Democrat city can show you similar statistics. They just let these people go. They let them go. These are violent felons. This isn't the, why would a guy arrested for a couple of roaches in his ashtray have to go to prison? And everyone agreed with that. I think any rational person would go, yeah, if you get arrested for 2 roaches in your ashtray during a traffic stop and somehow end up in jail, by the way, that never happens, then, yeah, you should be let out. There was some miscarriage of justice there. But that isn't the case. That's what they sold all of this bail reform on, and putting people, giving them probation and paroling criminals, violent criminals. It was all under this, hey, this guy had a joint or two on him. He's a good guy. Why are we locking him up? And everyone went, oh, okay. And then they just flung the doors open and are letting violent felons roam the streets. And they get arrested again, they let him out. Arrested again, they let him out. For the same thing, beating women. You know, I thought we were a chivalrous nation. I thought we looked at women with respect and honored them and kept them safe. Isn't that a man's job? To keep women safe? And then you got Mayor Johnson in Chicago that just refuses to do some of the most common sense actions to make Chicago safer. So here is, let me read this to you. It's the community safety surcharge that he is going to try. At least he's proposed it. He wants this. This, my friends, will take care of the crime in Chicago. Not, taking criminals off the streets, putting them in jail and in prison for lengths of time to do their sentences. Not that. This is literally a tax. It is a safety safety tax. The safety tax. A safety tax. Mayor Brandon Johnson's proposed $21 per employee tax on corporations with 21 or more workers, aimed at generating revenue for violence prevention programs. You have a violence prevention program. It's called the Chicago Police Department. There's your violence protection program, prevention program. And if you let them do their job and you put a police commissioner in place that lets them do their job, then you've prevented violence by having a strong police presence that is no nonsense. They make sure they're arresting people for the crimes they're committing. And then you need a judicial system that will follow through. But your first line of defense, this violence prevention program that you're trying to come up with to raise $200 million a year by taxing companies $21 per employee over 21 employees. So you're a big company. You got thousands of employees. You're now going to pay the city of Chicago $21 for every employee over 21 people that you have. Good luck, Google. Good luck, other corporations that have thousands of people working for them. Because he thinks he needs $200 million to put in place some violence prevention program that will do nothing. This guy comes up with more programs. What would that be used for? Jobs. He thinks if you offer gang members and thugs, people that have no qualms about murdering people, all you got to do is give them a job that's funded by companies that are actually employing people. And penalizing those companies to come up with $200 million to give to thugs. Or that other thing that he came up with, the where they hire gang members to go to where violence is and tell them, hey, knock it off, home. Knock it off, bro. Knock it off, cut. What you doing, cut? Stop with the killing, cut. You have a violence prevention program. They're budgeted. You have the manpower. It's the police department. He will not use it. Stack up those bodies. That's all he cares about. Stack them up. We're going to take a break before we play the clip of Brandon Johnson talking about this. Why wouldn't you utilize the resources you already have? Because he can't line his pockets and give cronies money. All right. We'll be right back with his words next.
It's the Anthony Cumia Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. It's the Anthony Cumia Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
The Anthony Cumia Show, and we were talking about Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson and his safety tax that he wants to put in place, $21 a head for any company that has 21 employees or more than 21 employees. So, you're a company with a few hundred or 1,000 employees. That adds up, and that tax will be going to certain programs that will curtail the violence problem. And none of his programs over the course of his mayorship in Chicago have done anything to bring crime down. But he's so afraid of utilizing his greatest resource, the Chicago Police Department, because he's afraid that when they start arresting people and putting them in jail, that Mayor Brandon Johnson's going to look like he's trading. He's a traitor to his race. So that matters to him more than actual dead bodies, of the vast majority of which are young black men. So I don't know why Mayor Brandon Johnson is in office. This is a gross negligence of duties that has resulted in the deaths of people. Any other person responsible for that would be thrown out of their job at the very least and brought up on charges if you had a rational thinking machine working the whole gimmick there in Chicago. So here is what Mayor Johnson there in Chicago is talking about, his safety tax and his this is going to do it. This finally taxing companies. It's not going to chase corporations out of Chicago. It's going to make Chicago the safe place it's supposed to be. Brandon?
The community safety surcharge. It's a job killer for the city. Why, if I were Google, would I stay here in the city and pay that head tax instead of going out to Naperville?
The notion that these taxes kill jobs, there's just no empirical data that corroborates that. It just doesn't exist.
Corroborate?
We found a way to generate
rabbit.
revenue without it being on the backs of working people, without having to raise property taxes, without expanding garbage fees, without collecting a grocery tax. As someone who is a part of the labor movement, who comes out of the working class, my father who worked his butt off, the third shift to raise 10 kids, I know what it's like to open up a refrigerator and there's no food in it. I know what it's like to have an orange extension cord from my window to our neighbor's window because we cannot afford electricity. There's no way in the world that I'm going to present a budget that's going to harm the working class. So in terms of the corporate responsibility that we're calling for through the community safety surcharge, that's going to go towards $50 million to hire young people. It's going to go to the wellness and the health of our police officers. There's a provision in there that ensures that we're providing support for victims and survivors of domestic and gender-based violence. And then, of course, our CVI workers, which has been demonstrated all over the city of Chicago, where brown and black organizations have community members who are working in some of the toughest precincts in the city where they have driven violence down.
Violence interrupters, Chicago violence interrupters, or community violence interrupters. That's his CVI program. And that's the one where he pays gang members to go into a beef and try to cool things down. By the way, two that I have read so far, two of these CVI people in Chicago were directly connected to gangs and utilizing their power and money that they're being paid by the city to involve themselves in gang crime, drug dealing, and violence. So, I don't know what this guy's doing. What is he thinking with this? And again, just give a thug a job. Give them jobs. Not everyone is fit for society. and getting a job is going to make them better. Some people really just need to be locked away from everyone forever. And he just will not fess up to that. It's beyond me how this guy. And then he says the corporate responsibility. So it's corporations that do business in the city of Chicago are responsible for trying to stop the crime in Chicago? Huh? They're doing you a favor by running a business in your city and paying taxes and giving the people of Chicago outlets for things like food and goods and services. But they have a responsibility to make the city safe enough so they can do business? What? That's called the police force. What business would stick around? The woman who asked him that question right off the bat is absolutely right. What's keeping these businesses from picking up and moving to a city or a township close to Chicago without having to pay these insane taxes? And Mamdani's the same thing. I'm raising taxes in New York from 7.4% to 11.5%. They will leave. Mamdani's even funnier. He says they're going to love it. They're going to pay more taxes and love it. But this guy, he really has no fear that these companies will leave. And the audacity to say that it's the companies, these businesses that are doing business in Chicago, it's their responsibility to pay money, pay a tax to make them safer. That is the mob. The mob, Brandon Johnson and his cronies, go to a business and they go, yeah, we need $21 for every employee you have over the count of 21 employees. Yeah, I don't want to pay that. It's a shame. It's a nice window you got there. Nice big picture window. Be a shame if anything happened to it. Try to tell me what's different between the mafia shaking down local businesses under the guise of protection, and we're going to help you be safe, and Brandon Johnson taking their money and telling them they're going to be safe. It's the mafia. Oh, my God. What are you people in Chicago doing? You are insane. You are insane, Chicago. But, you voted him in. I can't wait to see the next mayor. If the trend continues, Chicago, I cannot wait to see the next mayor. Greg from Indiana. What's up, Greg? We got a couple of minutes here, so make it fast.
Hey, Anthony, I'm a big fan.
Thank you,
Thanks
sir.
for taking my call.
Thank you.
I'm actually glad that you were talking about this topic, but criminality is the biggest thing that has resonated with me as a fan for many, many years now. And I do delivery work in Ohio and around the Cincinnati area, which has gotten worse and worse over the years. And
oh, yeah.
It's just viewing the decline of our society over the years. And I'm only 26, so, I haven't been here very long, but
right.
You have to wonder how the people, especially the people that are, actually having to live in the muck and the mire, and the people that are actually having to deal with the threat of assault and robbery and murder, and with the people that are in charge. It's like Mayor, Adams is a dope, and Johnson is clearly motivated just by a perverse sense of racial solidarity, and Mamdani is just
regardless of how it affects the black community in Chicago, he doesn't care at all, which is ironic.
But you have to wonder how regular people, and obviously, especially in Chicago, it's racial solidarity.
You got like 10 seconds, Greg. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's all right.
Yeah. Well, thanks for the call anyway. Thank you. And we'll be back in moments. Stick around.
It's the Anthony Cumia Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. It's the Anthony Cumia Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
The Anthony Cumia Show. And, we're kind of talking about mayors of some of these blue cities, and it's just a mess. They'd rather, as my mom used to say, cut off your nose to spite your face. You're cutting off your nose to spite your face. I didn't know what that was as a kid, but it horrified me because I took things very literally. So I imagined my nose being cut off, and I didn't know what the word spite meant at that time, but yeah, whatever. So let's move to the West Coast. Seattle, Washington has a new mayor, and apparently really likes this Mamdani plan, especially when it comes to these grocery stores, these state-run grocery stores, where, you know, a place like Gristedes, where you can go in and get everything. Look at me, commercial for the boss's grocery stores. It's called private enterprise and competition. And that is always done very well because it forces companies to be better. You want people to use your business, you got to be better than the next guy that also is doing the same type of business you're doing. Competition. It works. State run means that there's no competition. You go to a store and they don't have what you want. You're going to go to the next state-run store and they're going to have it? No. There's no motivation either to make money, to make a profit. So there's no motivation to satisfy the customer. This is socialism. This is communism. That's how it works. That's why during many years, you know, we used to get a lot of propaganda and fake news about the Soviet Union. But when the Soviet Union finally fell and we were hearing from the people that would come here and what it was really like, not what America told us the Soviet Union was during the Cold War, we heard horror stories about some of the simplest things, buying food, clothes. You'd get the same green jumpsuit, same khaki green jumpsuit and a bottle of vodka with the tinfoil on the top for a cap and cigarettes. And that's what you got because everyone gets the same thing. See, we all, the people, the workers, we all get treated the same. And the government gives us what we need to live. Well, what you need to live might not necessarily be what you want to live. Socialism, the bar has to be lowered so far down for everyone to enjoy, if I may use the term, having what everyone else has. You don't have rich people. Oh, you do. They're the ones in charge of socialism, whatever your socialist government is. But the people, they all have the same, which sounds great if they all have the same good stuff. But they lower the bar and go, hey, what are you complaining about? Your neighbor also got a bottle of vodka, some cigarettes, some crappy food, and a green jumpsuit to go to work in. That's socialism. So you're not going to get anything better. It's going to be, everything is going to be crap. So this mayor is, let's hear from Katie Wilson, self-proclaimed socialist, is out in front of incumbent Bruce Harrell by just under 100 votes as of Tuesday. Oh, this was the election. She wants the Mamdani-style socialism. Let's hear her, Katie Wilson.
Access to affordable, healthy food is a basic right. We cannot allow giant grocery chains to stomp all over our communities, close stores at will, and leave behind food deserts. Together we can build a Seattle where fresh food is for everyone, not just for those who can afford it. Food deserts are not natural. Corporations create them when they abandon our communities. As mayor, I'm excited to step up and with UFCW explore public option grocery stores to fill those gaps.
Can you believe what she's saying there? Food deserts. Do you know, I've never heard the term food desert until relatively recently. Maybe 8 years, I guess. 5 to 8 years. Because that wasn't a thing. That just wasn't a thing. A food desert. Companies, businesses leave when it isn't profitable to be at a location. It's too dangerous to be at a location. They pick up and leave. And that's what they do. So, yeah, you're right. Food deserts aren't natural. It isn't something that should organically occur. Something has to make it happen. And to say that it's corporations that are leaving some of these impoverished, high-crime areas, why? Out of greed? If they were making money, there isn't some guy, some CEO of a company going like, what? Where's store number 65? Well, it's in a inner city area. A lot of minorities shop there. And, well, let me see the papers. Let me see the ledger. Let me see the profit and loss. Wow, it's making a lot of money. Yes, sir. It's one of our most profitable stores. Yeah, but black and brown people use it. Well, yes, sir. It's very nice. And but pack up. Board it up. We're moving. I don't care how much money we lose. Thank you. End scene. That isn't what's happening. The stores are being robbed. The employees are being assaulted and or murdered. The shoplifting, which I love that they call robbery, shoplifting these days, is at a rate where they're just not turning a profit. There's too much loss because they're not allowed to do anything about the robberies that are going on in their store. So what are they to do? Stay there? Because what? They're a public service? No, they're a company that needs to turn a profit. So this woman here, this mayor, is blaming the companies for making food deserts and retail deserts. There's a reason. And it's not corporate greed doing it. Corporate greed would mean stay there if the stores were making money. I don't care how many of our employees have to be shot or punched. That store's making bank. We're staying. That would be corporate greed. But when you look around and go, yeah, we cannot make money here, and they leave, you don't blame the company. You blame the leadership in that community or that city, the leadership that is the mayor, city council, police commissioner. And you go, what is going on? Can you do better so that companies don't pick up and leave because they're experiencing horrors and crime? No. It's the terrible, greedy corporations that are doing it. Is this the same mayor that still lives with her parents? I heard some stories that this woman still lives with her parents, which is a great reflection of her constituents in Seattle. As somebody who has no idea what it's like to have actual responsibilities as a working person, as an adult that needs to go out, understands how you function in a civil society, speaking to people, negotiating, debating. More pizza rolls, Bob. That's what we get. That is what we get. Here we go. The lovely Sandra from Jersey. What's up, Sandra?
Hi, Anthony. How are you tonight?
Good. How you doing?
I'm doing okay as well. I wanted to say two things. One, when these supermarkets are going to be taken over, I was thinking Amazon and all those people that order online, they're going to start getting all their favorite products that way, because if they're not going to get them in the supermarkets, that's how they'll get them, right?
Absolutely. It's already a lot of people use Amazon or other delivery services to get food and goods and whatever they need. I don't step into a Home Depot anymore. I go to their site, I buy something, and they deliver it that day. So why am I going to trudge around in a Home Depot and deal with, people?
So certain people will suffer, not everyone. That's my point. So then the other thing I wanted to ask you is, my sister texted me earlier tonight saying the big weekend show, Fox News, said the Dems are going underwater. But then she said to me, then why are they winning all the elections? So that's what I wanted to ask you, Anthony. I know you talk about AOC, she's the laughing stock, but Anthony, she's going to be another Mamdani. That's what I'm afraid of.
Yeah.
I'm.
Well, that's a good question, and but if you look into it, even on the surface, you'll see there were no amazing Democrat upsets this past election. Did we really think Curtis Sliwa was going to win New York? We knew Mamdani had that wrapped up, and the only other option was Cuomo, who's also a Democrat. Jersey's governor, did we really think, Jersey is far from a red state. They've had Republican governors, but not anymore. That wasn't an upset. We knew that was going to happen. The mayoral race in Minneapolis, Minnesota, you had the Somali light bulb head guy, and then you had Mayor Frey, who is a bleeding heart, crybaby Democrat mayor. So if they were winning elections this past election day, a couple of weeks back, that were supposed to be Republican wins, but they ended up being Democrat wins, then I'd say, wow, I guess their narrative is hitting with people on the right. But they won every election they were absolutely supposed to win by miles.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Well, that's what I want. I wanted your opinion on that. So you're okay. You think we're doing nicely. We're moving along the way we should be. I'm sad about Jack Ciattarelli, though. Honestly, I really felt that he was going to win that.
Yeah. I know. We all get disappointed, Sandra. But I don't know what to think, quite frankly. I've seen things change on a dime. People are so fickle these days. I never understand when you watch a poll and you go, well, the polls are in, and they're polls like every week. And then you go, oh, this one went up or this one went down, or the undecideds. Right. It's like, can you people make a commitment? Like, the poll should be exactly the same every week. How do you change your opinion weekly and go, I like this guy, I hate that guy, I like this guy now, whoa, I hate him, I'm doing this now?
Well, I would assume it's different people that they're getting the polls
I would
from.
too,
It's
Sandra.
not from the same person.
I would too, Sandra, but it's supposed to be a sampling of people to get a pretty basic look, no matter if it's different people, the same people. There should be a kind of a steadiness in the numbers, but people that just, who are these people? Sandra, thank you so much for your call. That's kind of what it is. There weren't any surprises this election day. Minneapolis, you got the I'm the captain now guy, and the guy that was babbling like an idiot kneeling in front of Sir George Floyd's golden casket at his funeral. Holy moly, Minneapolis. Wow, I really thought a Republican was going to snag that. I don't even think there was one running. There's two Democrats facing each other. So, yeah, that's kind of my take on that one. We also have the mayor in Denver, Mike Johnston. Mike Johnston, I don't know what happened to Denver. I thought Denver was a rough and tumble kind of Western town, cowboy, right-wing people, or right-leaning politically. And over the course of the decade or so, the past decade, maybe even more, Denver's just turned into, ugh. I don't know what's going on there. But here's Denver Mayor Mike Johnson. He's talking about a brandy new affordable housing building that is in Denver. And he's got great dreams and aspirations. And let's listen to him talk about this.
This is what affordability looks like here in Denver. Today we opened 128 units of affordable housing here. Let me show you what this means. This means both workforce housing. So if you are someone that's a teacher, that's a nurse, that's a
teacher,
firefighter,
nurse,
looking
firefighter.
for a place to work and a place to live, you can live here.
Nice.
If you're looking for permanent supportive housing, that means you might be someone who's coming out of corrections or coming out of homelessness and needs some supportive services as well. You can see amazingly built public spaces, beautiful outdoor patio and grill.
Great.
We got my favorite room here, which is game day room, where you can have folks sit.
That will be the crack smoking room
game.
in 6 months.
If there are case managers who are helping people provide access to services, they have offices right here to be able to.
That's where you'll shoot up.
But the idea is this is true for all levels of affordability. So we want Denver to be affordable for those folks struggling the most, but we also want it to be affordable for working families all across the city. And so
Okay,
that means
could
if
you could stop him right there. Did you hear this? I'm stunned every time I hear this. It's affordable housing, so it's a project. It looked beautiful. The video, I mean, the architecture, you could smell the new wood, new carpeting and everything from this. This will be destroyed in very short time. And he's saying that the residents are going to be, working people, maybe your nurses in the area, firefighters, police officers, professional people, and, convicts and homeless. Affordable housing, because those people mesh very well together. I'm sure someone that works their ass off putting out fires and dragging people out of burning buildings and being faced with a gun in their face during a traffic stop and the like, I'm sure they're going to love the smell of urine in the elevators that, the criminals and homeless that you're cohabitating with will surely be doing in the elevators. And the offices, there was a hallway with these tiny cubicle-like offices that will help you if you need help with your SNAP benefits or your chillin', my chow, whatever it is. Those, I can't imagine that short of a year, there will be people sprawled on the floor ODing in those offices. It's a project, like the projects. All that money going to this beautiful building that will be garbage within a year because there's no responsibility when you don't have a stake in the game. When you give people a place to live, they don't have pride in that place. And to think, to hallucinate that you're going to get professional working people to cohabitate with some of the worst degenerates in Denver is insane. I had a grave misconception about what Denver was all about. Maybe I'm thinking back a few years, but oofa. Good luck with all that, Mike Johnston. Okay, back in moments. Stick around.
It's the Anthony Cumia Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. It's the Anthony Cumia Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Yes, it is the Anthony Cumia Show. And I guess we'll finish off our mayor, our tribute to the Democrat mayors of America with Mamdani, who will be New York City's mayor on January 1st. Godspeed, New York. All of those campaign promises that were made, especially things like free child care and the free fast buses. He really went with this one. And it seems like this just isn't going to happen. We heard from Governor Hochul that said, I'm not raising taxes. And this is how Mamdani was talking about funding this whole thing. Well, we'll just raise taxes on corporations and the wealthy, the filthy rich of New York City. You know, the $1 million earners, if you make $1 million a year or more, which in New York City, I'm sorry to say it, I don't want to sound like a snob, but $1 million is pretty much the bare minimum you can make and live comfortably in New York. But that doesn't mean tax the crap out of me so I can't afford to live in New York. And I've talked about it before. I don't understand why New York has to be affordable for everyone. Where did that come from? Who decided that everywhere in the country has to somehow be affordable to people? Oh, New York City, I can't afford to live there. Well, we'll change that. Why? Why? There are some places you can't live. Oh, my God. I want Beverly Hills to be more affordable. Where's my public housing? Where's my rent freezes? Where's my free busing in Bel Air? It doesn't happen. They don't want it to happen. Some places are just out of the income range of a lot of people. And New York City, one of those places. Certain places in New York, sure. But it's not going to be nice. It's not going to be ritzy, as they say. So Mamdani is finally addressing reporters' questions that Hochul says no. She says the MTA needs the money that the buses generate to make their budgets, to pay the employees. And there's no way that she could see, especially without her giving the okay to raise taxes. And she can't even do that unilaterally. She's got to present that to people. And she's like, I'm not even going to present raising taxes. And then she says the MTA needs bus money. So Mamdani's screwed here. He lied to the voters, of course. But he's answering some questions, or is he? Here's Zoran Mamdani when asked about Hochul saying no to free buses.
Let's just talk about what Governor Hochul said very recently about buses.
I cannot set forth a plan right now that takes money out of a system that relies on the fares of the buses and the subways. But can we find a path to make it more affordable for people who need help? Of course we can.
It sounded like it was a bit new that she was saying it's not a good time to take revenue out of the MTA. Now, my understanding of your plan is that the city would subsidize the revenue, but she has other reasons why she doesn't sound too keen on the bus situation. Should she have said that before people voted based on that issue? Is that a shift? Or have you always known that she felt that way? And also, is there a workaround?
Well, I think the governor and I share a belief that in making buses free, we have to replace the revenue for the MTA. We cannot simply demand that they do so without covering the amount of money they would raise from fares. And that's a cost of about $700 million a year. And I continue to be excited about the work of making the slowest buses in America fast and free, and of sharing the governor's interest in delivering on an affordability agenda.
But do you need to get past whatever her objection is to it at this point that she just stated in the last couple of days?
I see the concern being that we don't mimic what we saw under the previous administration in Albany, where what we would find time and again is the MTA was told, make this happen no matter what the cost is. And what we want to do is what we did when we made 5 bus routes free in New York City. We found $15 million, gave it to the MTA, covered the revenue they would have made from fares, and ensured that they could still be whole.
Is that the solution in your view?
We're going to approach this as there's always a way to get to yes, that there's going to be a way, and we're going to work with the governor and her staff, and we're going to have conversations to get there. Whatever the barriers are, whether it's financial, whether it's operational, there's a way to figure that out. And that's how we're approaching this.
We'll figure it out. Now we'll figure it out. I will give you fast, free buses. Yeah. we'll figure it out. I'm working on it. You lying sack. Oh, my God. Yeah, Hochul ain't going for free buses. You're not getting free buses in New York. But we all knew this. We had talked about this many times, how ridiculous the idea is of $700 million that it will cost. Where's that coming from? Raising taxes. Hochul is not raising taxes. We'll work it out. We're talking about it. But that was a campaign promise. It was, was it really a promise? I had my fingers crossed. We didn't pinky promise it. You suckers. Bunch of suckers. You're saps voting for this guy. By the way, it's going to be everything. There's not going to be state-run grocery stores. It would be great. I would love to see it. It just ain't going to happen. He's a fraud. Who didn't know this? All right. Stick around for the next hour of the Anthony Cumia Show.
It's the Anthony Cumia Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. It's the Anthony Cumia Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Hey there, everybody. Yes, it is the Anthony Cumia Show. Appreciate that support. You guys have been awesome. There's another Mamdani thing, but it's not as much about him as it is about Starbucks. These Starbucks employees and their supporters, like Zoran Mamdani, do they understand the structure of a starter job? When you first enter the workforce, you don't go and become the CEO of IBM or you are in a beginner job position. This teaches you things like responsibility. Maybe you learn a trade. You learn how the necessity to get up early, to go to work, get yourself there, get dressed, go out, feed yourself. You're training to be a human being that isn't burdensome to the rest of society. And part of that is getting a job in a beginner job establishment. McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's, your local pizza place. You know, I remember those being places that you went. Can I fill out a job application? And then, hey, you're hired. Minimum wage. You're washing dishes. All right. I'll make a couple of bucks during the week. On the weekend, I'll spend it on cigarettes, a 6 of Bud, half pint of Jack Daniels, and we start over on Monday. Now, anyone thinking during those times that you should start a family and maybe buy a house, I could cut down on the Bud. I'll get a Bud Tall Boy instead of a 6-pack to cut down, to pay for my house, my kids, my car, my wife. Just cutting out a few of those beers. Still getting the Jack Daniels and the cigarettes, though. It's called a starter job. Now, these idiots are under this misconception, because they've been told this by people, that these jobs should pay you enough to live as an adult with a family. A living wage, they call it. Oh, why aren't you paying your employees a living wage? Because they're not supposed to make a family and buy a house and a car on this salary. Why can't I get 40 hours a week? That's another thing that Starbucks employees are protesting. They're very mad. We're striking for. Well, because it's a starter job, Starbucks doesn't want to pay for benefits for these people. They're in their, 20s. Obviously, there are cataclysmic accidents, and sometimes a rare illness will befall a young person. But for the most part, it's a waste of money to insure your employees at that age. So you put them part-time so they don't get all the benefits that a full-time employee gets. What this also does is opens up this starter job to more people. If you have 10 people working 40 hours a week, you could have 20 people working 10 or 20 hours a week, if my math works. To carry the two. So it's totally set up to be a training ground for an adult. Let me get through this. Let me show people I'm responsible, and I'll work my way up. Maybe I hate this and I go on to something else. All those jobs are beginner jobs, and you should never expect to make the amount of money to live off of from those jobs. But again, they've been told that they deserve a living wage. So here's Zoran Mamdani supporting the Starbucks strike. Let's listen to Zoran.
We are talking about a CEO of a company who made $96 million just last year.
Yeah.
$96 million, which is 6,666 times the median Starbucks worker salary.
Could you pause it right there, my friend?
That we are seeing
if
here.
You could.
And what these workers are asking
pause
for
that clip, maybe.
Is the bare minimum. They are asking for a salary that they can actually live off of. They are asking for hours they can actually build their life around. They are asking for the violations of labor law to finally be resolved.
Violations?
And they deserve a city that has their back, and I am here to say that that is what New York City will be.
Woo! Free stuff!
Starbucks management is that I stand here today to practice with these workers, and if you force these workers to go on strike, then I will be there with them on that strike as well.
Yeah! The workers, man! The people! First of all, the CEO makes $92 million, the CEO of Starbucks. Again, skin in the game. The pressures of a CEO, I can't even imagine. One screw up, your stock price goes down. You're done. The people waiting in the wings to stab you in the back and take your position. And is it 90 some odd $1 million worth of pressure? Probably not. That is a lot of money. But trying to make the comparison that, hey, he makes all this and your barista only makes this, 6,000 something less dollars than the CEO. Yeah, you can't equate the two in any way. The dummy makes a mistake pouring out some coffee. They throw it away and make another cup. CEO makes a mistake. People lose their jobs. The stock price goes down. Everyone's losing their minds. And again, what are you trying to get out of working at Starbucks? They're striking. Fire every single one of them. I was saying this on my podcast. I guarantee you can walk outside of a Starbucks, grab anyone. In 10 minutes of showing someone what to do, and I'm talking a reasonably average intelligence person, you show them what to do in 10 minutes. They can do it. By the end of the day, the work day, they are proficient at it. And they will come in the next day and do their job, and it'll go great. And then maybe you'll learn a little tricks to speed things up or something. But anybody on the street could be put in that position. So the fact that you're demanding more money from Starbucks and some type of, they think it's some big union moment. Like, oh, I'm going to be the hero here. I'm going to be the union guy that shows the owners that it's about the workers. Not at Starbucks. Blow them out. Just fire them all. Get a new batch of idiots in there. And the second they start cackling about what they should be making and that, you throw them out. There's plenty of people, plenty of high school students, plenty of college students that have some spare time between their studies that will be able to do this gig with minutes of training. So the thought that you're going to strong arm management at Starbucks to pay you a living wage for a job that's supposed to be for cigarettes, beer, and whiskey money for the weekend, it's insane. And of course, Mamdani's behind it. For the people. I'm for the worker. The workers need to take control of the means of production. All right, Karl Marx. It's more like Groucho Marx or something. What an idiot. But that's what they're doing. They're striking. They drive these dumb young people right into unemployment. That's what they do. They talk to them. They lie to them. Like Mamdani's just using this as a look at me, young people that voted for me. I support your causes. I support your strike. I'm here for you. A city has your back because I'm the mayor. He don't give a crap. This is a publicity stunt for him. If this idiot doesn't know what a starter job is, and that Starbucks is one of those starter jobs, then New York's really in trouble. I don't think he does, though. I don't think he's a dumb guy. I don't think Zoran Mamdani's a dumb guy. But he is completely about Zoran Mamdani. And he'll never pass up a great opportunity to make himself look like he supports the people, like his free bus lie that he knew was completely impossible. You don't think they checked out with Governor Hochul if they could even do this before he started using it as a huge part of his agenda to be mayor? That was huge. It was every single speech, every poster, free buses. And you don't think he knew that they had spoken to the governor before? He just failed to mention it during his campaign, as did Hochul. She didn't come out with this tax thing before the election. Actually, she did, but it was right before the election. But then after, she came out with the MTA stuff going, yeah, we can't do that. Mamdani will lie, and he knows the young liberals are morons, useful idiots to get him to whatever position of power he wants to attain. And they put him in the mayor's mansion. So I guess it's working for him. All right, people. Got some calls there. We'll be taking them next. And Michelle Obama is on her book tour. And what's the most important thing? Yeah, her hair. I don't know. Back in a moment.
It's the Anthony Cumia Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. It's the Anthony Cumia Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
The Anthony Cumia Show continues. Let's go to Dave in Comac. Wonderful Comac. Dave, how you doing, my friend?
Anthony, you shouldn't complain about them asking for more money because nowadays, in order to be on Medicare and Medicaid, according to your buddy Trump, you have to have a job.
Yeah, I know. I hear you.
Right? And then, by the way, this thing earlier about this gun control.
Yeah.
In spite of the fact that there's a Second Amendment and you have a right to carry a gun, most people have zero emotional intelligence to carry a gun. There should be a ban on assault rifles in this country.
Well, I can't agree with that, my friend. What is it about assault rifles that...
Because every day there's some psychopath that goes into a school or wherever and starts shooting up the place with an assault rifle. That's why they should be banned.
Do you know what the criteria is for an assault rifle?
I really could care less.
I know,
but by what I see in the news every day.
I know, but there's a reason I ask that. Do you know if you have like an AR-15?
Are you a member of the NRA?
Yes, lifetime.
Okay. Well, coming from your mouth, it doesn't surprise me what you're saying, because most Americans, if you ask them, they took a poll on this, they don't want AK-47s in New York State. They want them banned.
Well, I think those are people that...
The governor agrees with me on this, too.
But I think those are people that don't really understand what they're trying to ban. It is.
Black and white, Anthony.
It is. When there is, it isn't black and white. Let me tell you something, Dave. There are things considered assault weapons by law that are no different than rifles that are available to people that would not, hold on, Dave, that are not under the criteria of assault rifle that could do just as much damage as what is considered. Why doesn't it matter?
Okay, then ban them too.
Oh, so now you just say, what about...
We're not talking about a 38 caliber gun here. We're talking about an automatic pistol.
No, we're not talking about automatic. We're talking a semi-automatic rifle that fires one bullet with one pull of the trigger. It's much different than a machine gun, that is not totally illegal here in this country, but the hoops and the investigation you have to go through to get a fully automatic gun, and fully automatic guns are never used.
That wind up being a psychopath that shoots up a bunch of people because of that.
They're never used. Where do you draw the line, Dave, as far as what weapons would be available to?
Unless you have a handgun with only 10 bullets in it, you should not be having an AK.
So just handguns. Do you know, Dave, that handguns are the most used weapon in killings around the country? Handguns kill more people by leaps. Hold on, by leaps and bounds. Handguns cause more death in this country, and you're saying
an automatic rifle with multiple magazines, Anthony.
You're not getting the point. Why would you want to ban a weapon?
And we can agree to disagree, but
why would you want to ban a weapon,
in New York State.
Dave? Why would you want to ban a weapon that is barely used in murders around the country when a handgun, you're saying you are for people having handguns? They are used in more murders around this country than any other weapon.
Your mouth.
Well, I don't think that should have anything to do with the validity of what I'm saying.
You're pro-Trump, you're pro-NRA.
Yeah.
The NRA is in Trump's pocket and in your pocket.
The NRA is a civil rights group. We have a right to bear arms. They are there to do everything they can. They're not there to compromise. If the NAACP compromised, would anyone complain about it? I don't want the NRA, my civil rights organization. I don't want my civil rights organization to have to compromise. That's why I love they don't bend or break.
The AR-15 and the AK-47 in their neighborhood.
What about an M14 carbine, which would not fall into the realm of assault rifle, but are just as deadly, semi-automatic?
Okay, then you ban those also.
So we just ban everything until what? Back to muskets,
Anthony,
I guess.
Listen, let me ask you this, Anthony. You have kids at home?
No.
You don't? Let's say you're married and you had a bunch of kids in one of the public schools. You think it's okay for somebody to walk into a school with one of those guns?
Of course not. What idiot would say, yes, that's fine?
You're talking nonsense.
All right. I guess you're for banning cars, too, because they kill people. All right, Dave. There goes Dave. He punched out. Wow. A little heated debate there with Dave from Comac, Long Island, home of the Comac Arena, where I first saw the Charlie Daniels Band play, smoking pot and drinking wine out of one of those stupid bags. Maybe I went too far with that. Comac Motor Inn, home of the Comac Motor Inn, Dave. I'm embarrassed to say I went to the Comac Motor Inn, the jungle room with the mirrored ceilings. I am now embarrassed because Dave is from Comac. My God. All right. Thank you for the call, though, Dave. I do appreciate a lively debate. I guess I could take a quick call. I'm in between segments now, and I'm kind of creeping up on a break. So let me see. Yeah, we'll go to Chris. Chris, Bethpage, come on, Long Island. Not two in a row.
Hey, Anthony.
How you doing, Chris?
That guy was an angry liberal. You sound like all angry liberals.
They all are.
Doesn't want to discuss what you're talking and go back. All he kept saying was, I don't care. I don't care. You can't talk with liberals. You just can't.
No.
And he had Trump derangement syndrome. He goes,
get off my phone, you slut shame.
I know.
Felt like Bob Grant there for a second.
I know. By the way, I love Charlie Daniels. Devil went down to Georgia, saw him in Nassau Coliseum. Love it. Anyhow, Anthony, very quickly, my economics professor gave me a great lesson on communism versus capitalism. He said when the Pilgrims came over, they were each given a parcel of land, and they were told basically they agreed they were all going to farm their land, and at the end of the day, put all their product in the middle, and then the women were going to cook up the food, and everything was going to be fine, right? Yep. Until, as time went by, some of the lazier Pilgrims decided, it's too cold. I'm not going to get up and do it today. Those other hard workers, let them do it, put it in the middle. We'll still eat, okay? Fine. After a while, the hard workers noticed that, and they said, screw this. Whatever we make, we're keeping. We're done. We're keeping what we make. We're not helping these guys out. Then the poor people decided, we better get our ass out there and start farming. And that's how socialism became capitalism. That's what my economics professor told me.
That makes sense. You know, the people that are doing the work, are supplying the goods, they don't want to look around at people that are basking in their hard work and just keep doing it. They're going to say something, and then they're going to do something, not give you the fruits of their labor.
Right. And, Anthony, I love the term fair wage. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Who decides what a fair wage is? I hate when Bernie Sanders says that or AOC says it. They said, Mamdani's saying it now, too. What a fair wage
Fair
is.
wage.
And
then they also say pay their fair share. Like, who dictates that?
And they decide what's fair.
Yeah.
Right.
Garbage.
And by the way, you know what's going to happen, Anthony, at Starbucks? I work in the city. This is what's going to happen. Let's say, for instance, they give them all $30. Let's say, okay?
Yep.
Now, Starbucks coffees are going to go to about $20 now, just to make up for that, right? They're going to go to $20. So who's going to go to Starbucks and buy the product? After a while, they're going to have to start shuttering the stores, and those idiots that were making 30 still would have had jobs if they were making 20. But they don't understand that, and that's what's going to happen.
They're demonstrating themselves right into unemployment. Thank you, Chris. Oh, restored my faith in Long Island. Oh, my God. Bayshore, you kick ass over Comac. I got to tell you, Long Island. All right, people, we'll be right back. I will get to the real top story, Michelle Obama and the difficulties that are her hairs.
It's the Anthony Cumia Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. It's the Anthony Cumia Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Oh, Anthony Cumia Show. Some of the comments coming through on X. Anthony Cumia is where is my account on X, and I check it during the breaks. And usually I'll post something saying that the show is coming on around 8 p.m. And that's where people go to kind of chime in if you can't get through on the phones or you're not near a phone. You should have hung up on that Democrat SOB. Dave is a retard. The word, oh my goodness. Ask the Comac gun hater how many mass shootings are done by NRA members. So the comments coming in, thank you for those people. Anthony Cumia on X is another way to get to me while we're doing this program. Michelle Obama, Big Mike as she's called, Mitch Obama, as she's also called. She's out on a book tour, and these people that are involved in politics, when they go on their book tours, it's just exhausting watching them do these interviews. And Michelle is no different. She's been around talking about her new book, I think it's called The Looks or something, or The Look. It's like a fashion thing. She's talking about how difficult it was during her time as First Lady in the White House, having to, get dressed and look presentable. The hair, the makeup, the clothes, all the important stuff that goes on when you're First Lady. Meanwhile, they've called this behemoth of a woman the most beautiful First Lady ever. She adorned the cover of every single magazine in this country during her 8 years as First Lady. She was on the cover of many beauty and fashion and fitness magazines in various fancy clothes, work clothes, exercise clothing. And then you get Melania Trump, who was a model, and they won't put her face on anything. Where is she on the cover of Vogue and all these dopey liberal rags? But Michelle Obama, they always talk about how beautiful Michelle is. So she's been going on this book tour, and she cannot stop whining about her hair. Now, she says, as a black woman, it's very difficult to get your hair to a state where it is in line with the norm, the beauty norm of America. So I guess she's assuming that straight hair is the norm of beauty. That's what people associate beauty with as far as hair goes. But then I've heard her say that black women with their natural curly hair, or afro, as they used to say, a natural. I used to have a giant afro as a kid. I had this big, frizzy Italian afro. And my dad was, let's just say, not the most open-minded guy. He wasn't really into diversity and the like. And he used to say I had a certain type of hair. I won't even hazard to try to let you people know what type of hair that was, but you could probably figure it out by yourself. So we went to Disneyland in Anaheim one day. I was probably 13 years old, and I had my big frizzy afro. And we went to get on one of the rides, and the girl that was working the ride was a black woman with a big afro. And she looks at me and she goes, "Damn, your natural's bigger than mine." A natural. They just call it a natural. My dad, I could see steam coming out of his ears. He hated that I had, a certain type of hair. I digress. Back to Big Mike Obama. Here she is whining about her hair. It's such a big topic with every talk show she does. Here she is. Mike?
Worry about it. Let me explain something to white people.
All right.
Our hair comes out of our head naturally in a curly pattern. So when we're straightening it to follow your beauty standards, we are trapped by the straightness. That's why so many of us can't swim. And we run away from the water. People won't go to the gym because we're trying to keep our hair straight for y'all. It is exhausting, and it's so expensive, and it takes up so much time.
Oh, I know.
Braids are for y'all so we can work harder and focus on the work. So why do we need an act, an act of law to tell white folks to get out of our hair? Don't tell me how to wear my hair. Don't wonder about it. Don't touch it. Just don't.
No one cares about your hair. And she seems really a little too overly involved in what white people are thinking about her hair and hair in general. I don't think black people should care what white people think is good hair. And black people have to work this hard, like she was talking about with the straightening and this and that, to what, appease white people? What has that ever been the mission of a black woman? I don't remember many instances, especially of late, where black women are trying so hard to appease white people and what their impression of what someone's hair should be. And she brought up the Crown Act. I know this is a thing that happened a while ago. The Crown Act or the Crown Law, whatever it was. And this is a law that was passed that says that an employee can wear their hair however the hell they want. And the employer can't do anything about it. And this has nothing to do with black people hair, white people hair. It's reasonable hairstyles. If you have somebody that you're employing that works as a receptionist for you, they're literally the first people that someone will see representing your company when they walk through the door. And you have some model of a helicopter carved out of your hair on your head, that's a problem. Why would you need to legislate that? Why can't an employer say, no, that's insane. I don't want people walking in, and that's the first thing they see representing my company. Well, now you're out of luck because you're not allowed to say that. Because, again, give them an inch, they'll take a mile. This is with any liberal cause, LGBTQ, Black Lives Matter, whatever it is. Give them an inch, they'll take a mile. They'll present something in a way where it almost sounds reasonable. Hey, black women wear braids. They wear braided hair. And I don't want an employer saying they can't wear it like that because their hairstyle, their natural hair gets in the way. It's too this, so I braided it, but my employer says he can't have that. Well, that's a little out of hand. I still think an employer has the right to just go, I don't care. I don't want you wearing that hairstyle. But it was never about that. It's just about this outlandish nonsense going on. So Michelle bringing that up is ridiculous. Of course it is. But she's out there on a book tour. And, you'd think being the first lady, representing the first family as the mom, the wife, are you talking to dignitaries, other leaders, wives, and families? No. She just, straightening my hair. What a pain in the ass. And she loves talking about, I think it was, oh my God, Drew Barrymore. God, I hate Drew Barrymore. She was on doing her show, and Michelle was on, and she goes, in her inimitable style, how do you stay so grounded? I don't understand how you stay so grounded. And she's just gushing over her. And Michelle's like, yeah, I do, don't I? It is so hard. When you're doing a book tour and telling people how much money and time you spend straightening your hair, I don't think that's grounded. I don't think that's very grounded. Oh, my God. What happened to Drew Barrymore? Standing up on David Letterman's desk, showing those big uns to Dave. Those were the days. Now she just gushes over people. Oh, my God, you're so grounded. Ugh. Shut up. Another thing, I guess this will be my racism segment. University of Berkeley police chief. Yes, the universities have their own police departments, and this is a police chief. Discriminated against white men. And you'd think that this would be kept secret. Like, I sure don't want people to know that during my time as commissioner, police chief, I was absolutely discriminating against people based on their skin color, which is illegal in this country, I believe, right? So she has no problem just putting this out there. Yeah, I did this. Let's listen to the U Berkeley police chief totally discriminating against white men when it came to getting jobs.
When I started with U.S. Capitol Police, there were 0, as in no persons of color and no women in leadership positions.
Was that it?
I wanted to be a change agent, not only for my organization, but for the profession. I didn't want any women to have the experiences that I had when I was oftentimes sitting in a room that was occupied by only white men.
Oh.
And some of them who thought that I didn't deserve a seat at the
Ain't that a shame? Yeah. So she took her experience and the oppression and rejection and everything that went along with these white men back in, I could only imagine this was the, 80s? And she took that experience and just turned it right around and started being discriminatory towards the people that she felt discriminated against her. And look, I understand how you might want to do that. But if you do, maybe you shouldn't be in that position of power. A lot has changed in this country between the time she was talking about and now. And things have gotten much better for minorities going into positions of power like police chief. So to then, in 2025, turn it around when you do have the power and utilize your power to discriminate against other people, boy, that doesn't seem to work. And she just, says it. I don't want women having to sit there like I did. Well, it's not 30 years ago. It's a different environment now. Even if they're sitting in a room with white men in it, because it's not going to be all white men, that's for sure. They're not having the same experience as you did back then. So why do you need to bring that discriminatory policy to your leadership role? But that's exactly what she did. And this isn't a one-off here. This happens a lot with people that are in minority groups that are put in positions of power. They see it as a great opportunity for payback. Oh, yeah? Your dad did this. Your grandfather did that. Well, I'm going to do this to you now. And like I said, it's illegal. It's absolutely illegal. I don't know why nothing's done about it. Well, I kind of know why. But, she's right out there saying, yep, that's what I did. That's how I did it. So I don't know. I don't know how we get past that. Jazzy, here's Jazzy, Jazzy Crockett. That's what I call her. She's a whip, isn't she? She wants you to pay for her security. How about that? Why? Conservatives aren't murdering liberals. That's for sure. I think we could look and say it's the other way around. So here's Jazzy Jasmine Crockett wanting you to pay for her security. Jazz?
I think that
it's really a good question as to why a member of Congress needs to pay for security out of money that they go and raise, instead of focusing on making sure that they use that money to educate voters about why it is that their candidacy matters. I do think that it does people like me a disservice when you are so outspoken. And then what happens is, instead of you being able to put all your dollars into campaigning, instead, you've got to do things like pay for your security. But I kind of value my life, so it is what it is. And it is what it is.
Who's trying to off Jasmine Crockett? She is one of the greatest commercials for Republicans ever. For the right. I think she's turned more people into Republicans than maybe even AOC at this point. She's a blithering idiot. She's a useful idiot. She is cannon fodder for the Democrat Party. I've said this before. I believe what's going to happen in 2028 or a year before that, 2027, we will see a Democrat candidate emerge that seems like a godsend. He will be a guy, probably a white guy, that seems so moderate, because in contrast to idiots like Jazzy Jasmine Crockett, people will look at him and go, this guy's making sense. He's talking about issues that Americans really want dealt with, not the insanity we've seen from the left over the past over a decade. So right now, they need people like Jasmine Crockett out there to act crazy. And not act. She is nuts. But the left, the Democrats, they love it. Put her out there, because they need that contrast when they bring forward this candidate for president for the 2028 election that will seem in contrast to Jazzy, Jasmine, and all these other nuts that they're putting out there, will seem like a normal, moderate Democrat, and people will be compelled to vote for this amazing guy. You watch. So in the meantime, this idiot doesn't understand that and thinks people are actually listening to her, or they want to off her because of her ideas. We don't care, Jazzy. We're just watching and laughing at you. There's no reason for anyone to take a pot shot at you. Save your money. You don't need security. You're an idiot. Back in a moment.
It's the Anthony Cumia Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. It's the Anthony Cumia Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
The Anthony Cumia Show, just going through my ex comments here. And Randy, he says, Ted Cruz did a really good comparison of what people view as an assault rifle and what people view as a hunting rifle. After it was singled out, he began to describe the hunting rifle, same caliber, capacity, and action. The assault rifle was just singled out due to the color of the rifle. Yeah, color and the plastic parts, of course, the shroud around the barrel, the Picatinny rails, the stock. But, yeah, the truth of the matter is it's the same gun as a semi-automatic hunting rifle. And, Dave from Comac, what are you going to do? Richie, how you doing, my friend? A little talk on the Second Amendment?
Good evening, Anthony.
Good evening.
Yes. I think that the Second Amendment envisions arms with military usefulness. The Second Amendment is designed to provide the people with the means to resist foreign invasions or a tyrannical domestic government.
Yep.
Both of those events would involve engaging with military forces. Therefore, arms with military usefulness would be envisioned.
Yeah.
Secondly, the Second Amendment mentions only one activity, and it involves military. It does not mention specifically or allude to hunting, self-defense,
right,
or sport shooting. Those activities are used as red herrings.
Absolutely.
And thirdly, requiring people to get a government-issued license in order to own an arms empowers one of the entities. The Second Amendment is designed to provide you with protection against the power to decide who should be able to own a firearm. That's not rational.
Not at all. I think if you really take to heart what the framers wanted, it would be insane to think that they would want the government itself, the thing that the Second Amendment was supposed to protect the people from, to dictate what type of weapons the people were allowed to have. It's insane. It's such common sense, but I guess that's uncommon these days, Richie.
I agree.
Yeah. Thank you for the call, my friend. Yeah. Boy, that guy made sense. In a very frightening way, he made total sense. I guess we can finish up here with Liz Warren, my good friend. Do I have enough time for this? Yeah. Liz Warren says that corporate greed is forcing more people to fly first class. I swear she said this. She's another useful idiot. Liz, let's listen to Liz talk about corporate greed, and that's why people have to fly first class. Huh? What, Liz?
Airline tickets. New corporate earnings data show that more and more people are buying first class and business tickets. Whoa, that must mean that people are getting richer, right? Because let's take a look at the numbers for the main cabin. They're actually going down. Yeah. So take Delta Airlines, for example. They reported a 4% drop in main cabin tickets booked, while ticket sales for first and business class seats rose by 9% during the same period of time. In other words, high-income people are buying those premium tickets like crazy, taking more vacations or traveling more for business, while a lot of other people can't afford to fly at all. In fact, for the first time ever in their history, Delta expects more of their revenue to come from first class and business class tickets than from main cabin sales. Wow.
Thank you,
To me,
Liz.
that
You can
says
cut
it
her
all.
off there. Have you watched any videos, what goes on back there in steerage, in the back of the plane? What goes on? Why do you think people are buying first class tickets? To get away from the mental patients fighting in the back. Corporate greed, indeed. All right, people. I love you. We'll see you back here next week. Join us then, won't you? And, yeah, I appreciate your support with the Anthony Cumia Show. And, yes, X, Anthony Cumia on X. Join me there.
Thanks for listening to the Anthony Cumia Show. You can hear the Anthony Cumia Show Sunday nights at 8. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?